The Jac Loopuyt house stood on the hill, a silent sentinel overlooking the town below. It was a monument to a forgotten era, a relic of a time when grandeur and opulence were the norms. Its once bright paint was now peeling, revealing the bare wood beneath, a testament to years of neglect. The garden was overgrown, a tangle of weeds and thorns that had taken over what was once a meticulously maintained landscape. The windows, like vacant eyes, stared out at the world, their glass panes cracked and broken. They seemed to hold secrets, dark secrets that whispered of the past. The house was a whisper of what it once was, a shadow of its former self, a grand estate fallen into disrepair, its former glory now just a memory. It was a place of shadows and silence where the echoes of the past lingered in every corner, a place where time stood still, frozen in a moment that had long since passed. The Loopuyt family, once prominent citizens, were long gone, their legacy now just a fading memory. Their absence hung heavy in the air, a palpable sense of loss that permeated the house. The house felt empty. But was it truly empty? Or did the walls hold the memories of those who once lived there? Or was something else there? Something unseen? The locals whispered stories of strange occurrences and ghostly apparitions. They said the house was haunted, that the spirits of the past still roamed its halls. They said it was a place of evil, where dark deeds had been done, and where the restless spirits could find no peace. Rumors swirled around the Jac Loopuyt house, a place shrouded in mystery and fear. They were like the wind whistling through the broken windows, carrying whispers of the past. The most disturbing rumors were from the 1970s, a decade marked by strange occurrences. A cult had used the house, their presence casting a long shadow over the community. They held dark rituals within its decaying walls. Neighbors reported strange lights flickering at odd hours. They heard chanting late at night, a haunting melody that sent shivers down their spines. Animals were found dead on the property, their bodies mutilated in ways that defied explanation. The police investigated, of course, but their efforts yielded no concrete answers. They found no evidence, no clues to unravel the dark mysteries of the house. The cult, if it ever existed, vanished without a trace. Still, the stories persisted, growing more elaborate with each retelling. Some whispered of a ghostly old man, a spectral figure tied to the house's dark history. He was seen wandering the grounds, his presence adding to the house's eerie reputation. His eyes glowed red in the darkness, a terrifying sight for those who dared to look. Others spoke of disembodied voices, eerie whispers that seemed to come from nowhere. They called out from the shadows, their voices a chilling reminder of the house's haunted past. The Jac Loopuyt house had a reputation, a dark legacy that lingered in the minds of those who knew its story. It was a place of fear, a place to avoid, where the shadows of the 70s still lingered, whispering their dark secrets to anyone who would listen. It was a Friday night, the kind of night where the air feels electric, and the shadows seem to dance with a life of their own. A group of teenagers stood before the house. They were filled with a mixture of excitement and trepidation. The old house had a reputation, one that sent shivers down the spine of anyone who dared to approach it.
There was Mark, the leader, always up for a challenge. His bravado often got them into situations like this, but his friends trusted him mostly. Then there was Sarah, the skeptic, trying to mask her fear. She had always been the voice of reason, but tonight, even she couldn't resist the pull of the unknown.
David, the quiet one, clung to his camera for comfort. He believed that capturing the moment might somehow protect them, or at least provide evidence of their bravery. And Emily, the adventurous one, couldn't wait to explore. Her curiosity often led her into trouble. It had also made her the most enthusiastic about their midnight escapades.
They had heard the stories, of course. Tales of ghostly apparitions, strange noises, and unexplained events that plagued the old house. Every kid in town had, but they were just stories, weren't they? Urban legends meant to scare the younger kids, or so they thought. Tonight, they would find out. Mark had dared them to spend an hour inside the house, an hour that now seemed like an eternity. It seemed like a good idea at the time. Now, with the house looming over them, they weren't so sure. The dilapidated structure seemed to breathe, its windows like eyes watching their every move. But there was no backing out. Not now. They took hesitant steps forward, the creaking of the old wooden floorboards echoing in the silence. The adventure had begun. The front door creaked open. It groaned like a dying animal. Dust motes danced in the air. The air inside was stale and heavy. It smelled of decay and something else, something unidentifiable. The teenagers stepped inside. The door slammed shut behind them. It was as if the house itself had swallowed them whole. They were plunged into darkness. Their flashlights cut through the gloom. They illuminated dusty furniture and cobwebbed walls. The house felt alive. It creaked and groaned around them. Every sound made them jump. They moved deeper into the house. Each room seemed colder than the last. Their breath formed clouds in the air. The silence was broken only by the sound of their own heartbeats. Section 5. A cold presence. The temperature drops. The teenagers reached the grand staircase. The once ornate carpet was threadbare. The banister was covered in dust. As they ascended the stairs, the temperature dropped. A cold draft swirled around them. It was as if they had entered a refrigerator. The air grew heavy. It was difficult to breathe.
Do you guys feel that? It's freezing.
The others nodded, their faces pale. They had been so caught up in the thrill of the dare they hadn't noticed the cold before. But now it was undeniable. It was unnatural. It was as if something was trying to force them back. But they pressed on, their curiosity outweighing their fear. Section 6. The figure in the mirror. A fleeting glimpse. At the top of the stairs was a large, ornate mirror. Its gilded frame was tarnished with age. As they passed, David thought he saw something in the reflection. A figure standing behind them. He stopped, his heart pounding.
Did you guys see that?
The others turned to look, but the figure was gone.
See what?
There was someone behind us, in the mirror.
The others exchanged nervous glances,
There's no one here but us.
but even she sounded unconvinced. The mirror was old. It was possible it played tricks on the eyes, but deep down, they couldn't shake the feeling that they were not alone. Section 7. Panic and flight. Escape from the unknown. Suddenly, there was a loud crash from downstairs. The teenagers screamed. They huddled together, their fear palpable.
What was that?
They listened intently. Silence. Then, they heard it again. Footsteps. Slow, heavy footsteps coming up the stairs. Panic surged through them. They didn't wait to see who or what was making the noise. They turned and ran. They ran down the hallway, their flashlights bouncing wildly. They didn't care where they were going. They just had to get out of that house. They could hear the footsteps behind them, getting closer.
They scrambled down the stairs, tripping over their own feet.
They burst out of the front door and into the night.
They didn't stop running until they were safely away from the house.
They huddled together, gasping for breath, their hearts pounding in their chests.
As they caught their breath, they looked back at the house.
And that's when they saw him.
A figure standing in an upstairs window.
A pale, gaunt face with eyes that seemed to burn with an eerie light.
He was watching them, and then, just as quickly as he had appeared, he was gone. The teenagers never went back to Jac Loopuyt house. The experience had shaken them to their core. They couldn't explain what they had seen and heard. Was it all in their imagination? Or was there something truly sinister lurking within the walls of the old house? They told their friends about their experience, but no one believed them. They were dismissed as scared kids who had let their imaginations run wild. But the teenagers knew what they had seen. They knew what they had felt. And they knew that they would never forget their night in Jac Loopuyt house. The Jac Loopuyt house remained a mystery. It stood on the hill, a constant reminder of the unknown. Was it truly haunted, or was it just an old, neglected house? Perhaps the answer lay not in the house itself, but in the minds of those who dared to enter. Fear is a powerful thing. It can distort perception. It can make the ordinary seem terrifying. The stories, the rumors, the legends, they all contributed to the house's sinister reputation. They created an atmosphere of fear and anticipation, and in that atmosphere, anything seemed possible. So, was Jac Loopuyt house truly haunted, or was it simply a canvas upon which people projected their own fears? The answer perhaps lay somewhere in between. The Jac Loopuyt house stood as a testament to the power of stories. It was a place where reality and imagination blurred. It was a place where fear took root and flourished. It was a reminder that some mysteries are best left unsolved. And so, the house remained. A silent sentinel on the hill, a beacon for the curious and the brave, a warning to those who dared to trespass. Jac Loopuyt House, a legacy of haunting,